it feels a little different with the Yankees coming to town. However, when you're watching both games yesterday and you have the Lars Nootbaar walk off, and then even in the second game they pull Quintana after 6 and the Cubs tie it up, you never really felt like the Cardinals were going to lose that game. And then you sweep the doubleheader and you see that the Brewers got swept by the Pirates. The series basically after they trade away arguably the best closer in baseball in Josh Hader. And you're just starting to get the feeling that this is another one of those Cardinal teams. And by saying that, I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series. I'm not even saying they're going to be as good as the Dodgers or the Mets. But after the trade deadline, when the Brewers trade away Hader and then they lose a series, they get swept by the Pirates, the Cardinals make a couple moves. I know it's not Soto, but they address legit needs in pitching. They take care of the Cubs. You're just starting to feel the momentum of another second half surge for the Cardinals to go on a nice run and win the division. And by the way, winning the National League Central, to me, that's not the same as winning the National League East or winning the National League West this year. But still, it's just starting to feel like another Cardinals run is coming.
So Quintana, 6 innings, 1 run, gave up a home run early, then settled. Looked really good.
Awesome.
I mean, looked every bit of what you were hoping to see from him. Worked quickly, threw strikes, was in total command. That was huge. Nootbaar, by the way, got off to a really slow start, and you were like, I thought Nuke could hit. You know, he's hitting like a tick under 400 for his last 17, 18 games. Yachty's back. That's another thing, too. Yachty's back. You could say whatever you want to say about is he the same guy? Can he play every day? They're better when Yachty's around. They really are. And it does seem like things are clicking. Now, baseball is funny because to me it's not necessarily momentum because it's all about the next day's starter. Now you got the Yankees in town, and you got a kind of lineup that the Yankees have. I don't want to go out on a limb here, Charlie, but I would say overall the Yankees lineup is slightly better than the Cubs. I mean, the Yankees don't have a Schwindel.
Correct.
But they got other guys.
Yeah. They got a couple guys on pace maybe to hit 60 home runs, and if you like that kind of thing. And that's where I want to make sure that I posture this in the correct way, because I do like the moves that the Cardinals made. I just think that the National League Central this year, it is the poor man's division of the National League. And I think, hey, if the Cardinals win the division, I'm going to be very happy that happens. But I think also this year and with the new playoff format, the push should really be to get one of those buys. And this year that's probably not going to happen because you have a team in the Dodgers, you have a team in the Mets, even a team like the Padres.
Call them juggernauts.
Right. Dodgers are definitely a juggernaut. The Padres are so far behind the Dodgers, they're not going to catch them for the division, but they're going to be a player in the postseason, obviously. Mets are very good. Braves are very good. I do think, just from watching what I've seen, and we've seen this movie before. This always happens. We always, for 100 games, we complain about the Cardinals. They always do this in the second half. And by the way, I'm not saying they're going to win the series versus the Yankees, but they don't even have to. They have to beat the Brewers, and they have to continue to beat up on some of these teams they're playing, if it's the Reds, if it's the Cubs. And right now, if I'm a betting man, which I am, I would say the Cardinals are going to win the division. It just feels that way.
Well, when you see the player reaction after the trade of Hader from the Brewers, I mean, even though they were trying to seem happy about it, everyone looked down. And then they go out and they get swept by the Pirates. You know, that tells you maybe things aren't great in Milwaukee. And I do think that this series is important in that because the Central isn't great, you know, and you beat up on the Cubs, which is great, you take care of business. I get it. But the curve is a lot different when you're facing the Yankees, and I want the Cardinals to do well and also feel the opposition getting better and see how that's why I think Tyler O'Neill's so important. When you look at lineup versus lineup, player for player, right? The Yankees have it, but if you have Tyler O'Neill being Tyler O'Neill, if you have Paul DeYoung giving you power production from the bottom of the order, it's not that big of a difference if those things happen. The difference is the Yankees have enough, you know, room and talent on their roster. Not everything has to click every night. Right now, with the Cardinals, things have to click in a certain way.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not saying what the Cardinals are doing is now putting them in the echelon of the Yankees, of the Dodgers. But it sure, in my opinion, has put them right up there or surpassed the Milwaukee Brewers. And just watching the games, you just feel a different mojo. You really do. When you watch the games this week, and I know the Cubs are not very good, but it's a different vibe. When you go out there and you add pitching that you needed, and you see that Yachty's back, you see Tyler O'Neill's back, he hit the bomb. Even though every time Paul DeYoung comes to the plate, you see that 140 average, but still, the man is hitting the ball with power. He's getting extra base hits. He was robbed of a home run the other day. He looks 10 times better coming back. And I've always liked the Cardinals defensively and offensively better with Paul DeYoung at shortstop. I know Tommy Edman filled in admirably, but I love if Paul DeYoung can be your everyday shortstop and just hit. If he can hit 220, 230 with power, you'll take that with the defense. And I think everything falls in line better if Tommy Edman is playing Gold Glove second base. You have a deeper bench if that takes place. And just watching these games with Quintana, we're going to see Montgomery. It just feels like a team that got a much-needed jolt at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I've been saying that. I've been following Paul DeYoung and kind of pushing when he was hitting better because I agree with you. DeYoung is. I had a play where I don't know. I didn't get a chance to ask him why he hesitated on that throw. That wasn't a good moment yesterday. But overall, he's a good defensive shortstop. And so if you do have him at short with the potential for power, and Edman at second, that's a better setup. Now he had to go and get his swing fixed. Hopefully he's done that. It looks like he has, but it does seem like the Cardinals may have turned a corner in terms of getting guys back and at least having the guys you're going to be depending upon together and going in the right direction. Now, you never know because, the Yankees could come in and just smash everything.
Right, and that's why I've said it now like 10 times, but I think a reason that a lot of Cardinal fans still weren't happy with the deadline, and maybe their expectations are too high because we threw Soto out there, and Soto was talked about for 2 weeks straight, so it became a thing where if you didn't get him, it was going to be a letdown. But I think a lot of Cardinal fans do think, and I get this, they're saying, okay, yeah, we like the moves, but are we a World Series contender? And I still think that's a fair comment to make. Yeah, have you put yourself in a spot to win the division and potentially be better than the Brewers? I say that 100%. Are you a team now? Do you have a better chance to beat the Dodgers and Mets? Yes. But have you matched up with those teams where when you line up the rotation and you line up the lineups, or a Yankees team that's coming to town, are you one of the elite teams in baseball? I think that's a fair point that a lot of these fans are making.
Like I said, I think they can be, but a lot of things have to go right. They don't have the luxury that a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees have, where they have so many guys who can do it, that if a guy's not performing, there's another guy you can put in there. But like another guy, like Dakota Hudson, we've seen him be really, really good. Not this year. He's coming off Tommy John. He hasn't been really consistent. We've seen some really good outings from him. If he can be close to that, right, and O'Neill hits, then I think they're certainly not right with him, but they're in that neighborhood, and I would say they have a shot to go deep.
How long for standing O will Mustache Matt get tonight?
I think he's going to get a good one.
Yeah,
when he left, there was a rain out. He never really got the send off, and people were kind of down on him anyway. And I do think, absence makes the heart grow fonder. All these people that ripped him on social media will be giving him a standing ovation.
100,000%.
I said what we should do when he comes up and there's a standing ovation is put up this wide shot, and if there's a way to do a graphic and have little arrows pointing to the nasty things that these people that are now standing applauding him said on Twitter, like, you're terrible, you're not a big leaguer, just little arrows pointing at the people that are standing giving him a standing ovation.
Can Yachty just strike out instead of swinging? I know he's in for the defense, but the double plays. Sanderson wants to know.
See, here's the thing with Yachty to me. Like,
double plays.
I knew he'd be back and ready to play, but he had been out for a while. Guys, it takes timing. You need to get your timing
He's
back.
kicking his feet up.
And with Yachty, it's almost like, well, he doesn't need a rehab or whatever. He played a couple of games. It takes a little while to get your timing back on your swing. So I didn't think he would hit the ground running offensively. I knew he'd be good behind the plate.
And all due respect to Yachty, he is 40 years old. and he's not going to be the offensive player he was. So I don't even when Yachty comes out there, I'm not expecting a dude to be super productive. But for a while there, I mean, we love our guy Kiz and all that. For a while, the catcher position offensively for the Cardinals was bringing next to nothing to the table. I know Kiz got hot there before the All-Star break, but if Yachty can just hit 230 with a little bit of production.
And better in the clutch, too. Yachty always has a knack for that, right? You know, big moments seem to bring out the best in Yachty. You want that, too.
Mitchie, stop it, please. I know what you're doing.
What
I've
now?
already seen it. Stop it.
Is it Pelosi?
Fun bags on this hose hound. That's what he types in. Stop doing it. I can't get it out of my mind. Lord. He goes, Paul Pelosi's having a loving life. I don't think he is. Hey, let me tell you about...
We were just breaking down. We just had an adult breakdown. A fair and balanced breakdown of the Cardinals.
I know. And then he's got to ruin it. Oh, Lord. Okay, speaking of getting your mind right, meet the new kids on the block. Block dispensary, BLOC. I'm telling you, if you guys don't know about cannabis, check it out. They got a couple different locations. They got all kinds of locations, but the close one's right there in Valley Park. They got a drive-through. Check it out. They got one right across the street from the Galleria. Lovely place, about as clean as you can get. My boy Brendan in there will educate you on cannabis. He really will. They all will. Look into it. It could be a game changer for you. Check it out. I know you guys are digging into some of the pills. Your back hurts from roofing all damn week. I get that. Check out cannabis. I'm telling you. 2 locations in Metro area, like I said, Valley Park and the Galleria in Richmond Heights. All you have to do is go to blockdispensary.com, get medical card tab, press that damn thing, and put the promo code in block25. You get $25 off your dispensary card. And of course, once you get that, it takes about a week, and then you can go pick out whatever the hell you want. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm telling you, it's an absolute game changer. That's Block Dispensary, BLOC. Their mission is to help people feel better. That's what they do. That is how they roll. Big Mike said, please have Charlie never leave the show again so it's not Republican versus conservative talk. And then I go, sorry. And he goes, I'm not a Democrat. I just appreciate both sides of an argument, not just shoving one side down the audience's ears. When do we do that? Jimmy hasn't even been here. I don't know. Sorry about that.
Nate would never do that.
Nate would never do that. Oh, maybe when Losey was here that one time, we were a little cray-cray. Now, God, AOC now. Jeez Louise. They keep putting it in. I don't know what to do. They keep shoving it in our faces here. My God almighty. All right. What else we got? Hey, did you guys play any clips?
You know, there's a clip of AOC dancing in her college days.
Yeah.
I believe she went to Boston University. It's like a campus video. Yeah. And it's pretty impressive.
Is that a real picture? Wow. Pretty good. Anywho, let's see
What's
here.
that about?
Nate. Just always from the, what is he? He's got that grin on. He's got that
How about
grin
this?
on.
Here's what's funny. Like 5 seconds ago, we turned to Nate to get his take, and he's not there. But then we come right back, and immediately there's a drop that just, the second he sits down.
What'd you want my take on?
It was either Cardinals or, what was it? What did Big Mike say? Oh, he said that you guys were too conservative when I was not on the show.
Yeah. Maybe we were.
Probably true.
Probably true.
What did you think of Quintana?
Oh, he was excellent. You know, if I was having this discussion with a buddy of mine who's a big Cardinals fan last night and said, if Juan Soto's name was never presented at all, I think we would have a vastly different view of the deadline moves. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think because Soto's name was out there and we all kind of got a frenzy for 2 weeks, it sort of downplays the moves. But I got to tell you, I said this to you when everybody left the other day, but it is fascinating to me how the Cardinals pluck these guys from organizations and they've run the numbers on them through their own internal systems. I mean, did anybody... Okay, I guess Quintana's name was out there a little bit, but did you ever hear of Jordan Montgomery being available?
Of course I did.
No.
I mean, come on.
No,
I mean,
they do. I mean, it's very specific what they're looking for. Obviously, availability and what they have to give in return is a piece of that. But they're pretty decisive on the guys they're going after. And, you know, to be honest, you look at Quintana's numbers, you're like, okay, but I mean, he's playing for the Pirates. And I just remember Quintana when the Cubs got him, because when they acquired him back in the day, that was like the beginning of a series against the Cardinals in Chicago. And in Chicago, they thought, we're going to win it all. And he was okay there. But he talked about last year going to winter ball to work on his mechanics and straightening some things out. And if you look at his numbers since then, they are really good. And they're the kind of numbers you expect would get better with the defense he's going to be pitching in front of here. And last night, I think, was a great jumping off point because he was really impressive. Gives up the homer, but settles right back in, works quickly, right? Mm-hmm. And command of all his pitches, throws strikes. I like it.
Every time that Quintana pitched for the Cubs against the Cardinals, I thought to myself, oh, they got a legit guy going.
Yeah.
So
I also think that a lot of people fall in love with names because if you hear the name Noah Syndergaard, Thor, the hair, you think about him when he was dominant for the Mets 5 years ago, and you're like, we need Thor.
I think of an elbow
not
problem.
the same guy.
Well, then you look, and actually Quintana and Montgomery both have better numbers. Yeah. So it's not as sexy when you get Jose Quintana, who's on a one-year deal with the Pirates. Thor sounds so much better. You got to get Thor. But these guys' numbers are actually better. And listen, if you're not going to get Luis Castillo, that wasn't going to happen. Even Frankie Montas, I mean, for what he's bringing to the table and what he cost, coming off a shoulder issue, that's a risk, man.
No, and it's the pitcher in Miami that I like. That's the guy I wanted.
Pablo Lopez?
Yeah, he's really good. But I like Quintana, too. And if you look at the other guys, I mean, that were out there, Montas, okay. I Quintana might have been the better move anyway.
I wonder, too, as I was thinking about this with the deadline, you wonder if it makes more sense. And I'm not just saying this because Steven Matz got injured, but does it make more baseball sense instead of giving the 4-year deal to the Matzes of the world, if you just give 2 or 3 of the 1-year deals to the Quintanas of the world? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just saying that because of the way this year has played out, but you look at risk reward. Even if Quintana wouldn't have worked out for the Pirates, it's a 1-year, $2 million deal. It's a pitcher who's pitched better than Steven Matz. Yeah. I understand Steven Matz has been banged up, but also when you give out 4-year deals for guys who, if they're only a bit above average and then they come down a little bit, all of a sudden you're spending $11 million a year for a league average pitcher. I just wonder if these 33-year-old dudes on 1-year deals, if that just there's less risk there.
And they're few and far between, which kind of speaks to your point. But if you do have a stud in your rotation that's under contract, right?
But I'm talking about, I always pay for studs. That'll be a drop. You always pay for a stud. If you can get Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Jacob deGrom, you spend for those dudes. You spend for those $30 million ridiculous stud pitchers, the Bryce Harpers of the world. Those guys you spend money on. A lot of these mid-level guys, they end up being players who are 10 to 15% above average. Then they hit free agency. You give them $11 million a year or $15 million a year or $17 million a year. All of a sudden, they're league average.